Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. It was a long-awaited game. I had a ton of hype up to it, and I was really excited for it. And then about a week before, a bunch of YouTubers got a box with a bunch of goodies, but one thing inside of there was a Spring Bonnie bobblehead. And that's the kicker. That's what really got me. I was like, this is going to be the best Fnaf game. But I was wrong. And there's a good reason for it. Now, in terms of gameplay, this game is godly. Steel Wool saw the errors with their first game, Security Breach, and polished everything. They made sure the game was finished. No holes in the story, no annoying parts. It was a flesh out 5 to 10 hour experience. It was great. Until I played through the true ending. The true ending all but confirms that Henry and Emily did not do anything. They stole everything and simply just copied it. And that I really don't like, because that really disproves nearly everything Scott has built for the past 11 years. Edwin wasn't even written in canon until I think it was 2023, 2024. 2023 because of Ruin. It's just frustrating. This character, who wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind in 2023, who just randomly got his own game because the Mimic was a big part of like the Steel Wool trilogy kind of thing. Like, that is a Steel Wool creation right there. So when they wrote Edwin in and David, I didn't realize it would have the implications that it did. I thought it was, since it was the books, it wasn't canon. Which now the books have been disproved. Books are not canon, they're in their own universe. Because a Secret of the Mimic doesn't follow the book to a T, which means it's not canon. But I just think it's so dumb that nearly 9 years of history of lore was just erased like that. And there's not much I can say about it. I mean, it's happened. That was approved by Scott. That was his vision. But it complicates things to the nth degree, and it also degrades from William and Henry. Like, that was the duo. That was all you could see in the picture. And William was the main drive behind that. The reason Fall Fest, the reason with the costumes. Like, he made the costumes. Henry made the animatronics. He just had a way. But knowing that that was all just a lie, and that Edwin was the one who did everything, and that Edwin's the mastermind, and that then Henry and William stole everything. It just hurts. I don't know why, but these are established characters. These are characters that have been in the canon since the second game. The first game doesn't really count. They retconned everything in the first game because Scott didn't think it would get this big. But it's not like Fazbear commissioned this, because at the end of the game it's revealed that dispatcher was just phony. It was Fiona, which, if you don't know who that is, I highly suggest watching fusionzgamerz video on that. I know Dawko has all of his videos out too, but I watch fusionzgamerz series. Fiona was the dispatcher. She was trying to get Arnold to fix the Mimic, because the Mimic had gone rogue, and I'm pretty sure there's like 40 dead bodies in the building. And then at the end, with all the tiny little like munchkin robots, that doesn't really make sense to me because they hadn't appeared the entire game. It's just frustrating that everything that was built prior to Steel Wool is just gone. everything we thought we knew was a lie, and that's all because of one character, Edwin. I mean, I highly suggest playing the game, but it was disappointing to figure out that everything that I had thought I learned was just a lie, and that this was recent, but it retconned a lot of the things that we thought exist. Like, it didn't, like, fully retcon because this takes before, but it fully, like, annexed the idea of some certain things. Now, Henry still made the toys, and William still made the fun times. But it feels less like a joint effort. It feels less cohesive, more like Edwin did everything, Edwin made all the creations, Edwin did this, and Henry and William stole. And that's just not good. I didn't think that was good. Instead of, focusing on this, they could have given us a really good answer to what the fuck is FNAF 4. It's been 10 years at this point, almost 10 years, and nobody still knows what that game is. Nobody has figured it out. Like, what's in the box? Probably Edwin, most likely, but, that's just the way it is now. I feel like the books have taken center stage over the games. Like, the book story is more interesting, so they stuck with that. And I think this is at the point where we have to start considering everything Steel Wool made a different universe from what Scott made. Because I imagine, like, how in Avengers you have the sacred timeline, the timeline where they beat Thanos. I think that this sacred timeline should be given to the first 7 FNAF games. I think that is the best way to go about it, and look at everything else in a different space and time. Because if we did consider it all the same thing, then that would mean that, like, the first 4 games didn't happen. They were fake. They were something random. They were a game developer. That would mean that those first 4 games mean absolutely nothing. And none of that actually happened. And that's also upsetting to think about. And we're still very hazy on a lot of things. We are at the point where we get maybe every one answer, we have about 20 more questions arise. And that's just the way the FNAF canon is. But I specifically remember one moment of the game theory video from Tom. It was about the week before the book, and a majority of that video was him saying the FNAF canon has become too hard, and it has been overcomplicated, and I cannot keep up with it. That was a majority of the video, I felt like. And he's right. It is overcomplicated. It has strayed too far. It's just not the same. I was so excited to get a bunch of answers for this. They could have written Edwin in a way that I would have been happy with, but not in the way they did it, the way they wrote Edwin. That was that hurt, because everything I had built, everything I had pieced together by myself as a small child. That's not how it went. That was wrong. I'm pretty sure if Matt Pett hadn't been in direct contact with Scott Cawthon, who's still doing YouTube, he might have had an aneurysm, because then he would have realized, wow, everything has become outdated. All those, 60-something, maybe 70-something episodes of FNAF, gone. Because of just this new information. But, I think that's really it. I'm just frustrated. I already didn't have a good Friday and a good Saturday, but that was besides the point. I pray someday that the Steel Wool canon will be different from what I consider the Sacred Timelines canon, because I think that will help us focus more on figuring out the Sacred Timeline and then the Steel Wool era. But as for now, I'm I am not so optimistic for the next game lore-wise. I think it's going to contradict a lot of things and add things not many people wanted to see. And I think that's it. I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but I really just need to voice my opinion. I think it's a great game, but I hate the way Edwin was written in the story, because it doesn't sit right with me, having everything you knew basically been a lie. Probably delving too far into this. I probably need to go to sleep. That's about it. Hope you're doing great. Don't riot, because destroying your city, aka your own taxpayer dollars, not the smartest thing. Wear a seatbelt, drink water, stay in school, read a goddamn book. I don't know. Anyway,